You've probably heard that real estate contracts are being canceled at an all-time high. I'm Eric Peterson, broker at KOPA Real Estate. In this video, I'm going to walk you through one of our recent transactions and explain what was going on and how this could have gone south. Stick around to the end, and I'll tell you how it worked out, for everybody at the end of the transaction. So I want to make sure that I'm explaining that there's a lot of blame to go on around as far as why contracts are being canceled. So certainly from the buyer standpoint, from also the seller standpoint, we're almost exclusively on the listing side, but that's true. Some from the buyer agent standpoint and some from the listing agent standpoint. Some is just market driven with interest rates and financing, and some might just be nervousness. So there's no one reason why any particular contract would fall through. In this video, though, I want to talk about one reason is that there's unrealistic expectations from buyers when they go in to purchase a house, that they're purchasing, say, a 10-year-old resale home, and that it's the obligation of the seller to bring things up to code, to do upgrades on the house, after the original contract has already been negotiated. And also just not thinking about from, negotiating from a standpoint, you want to think about the other side too. Like, how is all of this work going to be done? Who is going to do it, right? So if a seller has already moved out of the house, also, us as a real estate broker, but it's really hard for us to basically shut down our real estate business and turn into a general contractor for, a buyer wanting to request 20 things from an inspection report. And, one is that just that amount of time, it's really impossible to do. I hate to say it, but it's really impossible to bring in 10 different contractors for a property, and also trying to meet the expectations of a buyer. A lot of these, the people buying a house, they don't even know what they want. So how could myself as a real estate broker, as you as a seller, be able to read somebody's mind and be able to do things, especially cosmetic things, that would meet the expectations of that buyer? And then finally, one of the reasons why we can't do it, even though our track record of keeping deals together is very high, is, it's impossible for us to shut down our real estate business for this one buyer buying the house to turn into a general contractor and then have there wind up being financing problems at the end, and that buyer can't even buy the house, right? And in this transaction that I'm going to talk about, there was a snafu at the last minute from the lender, and had to extend closing 3 weeks. So all's well that ends well, but it does, it does show you that there's a lot of risk involved, both in terms of money, but also time invested to make a lot of these repairs. All right, I'm going to run through their list of repairs with you, and then, like I said, stick around and I'll tell you how it all worked out. Here's a good example of, in my opinion, unrealistic expectations from a buyer and who's going to do all this work and how is it going to be done, and then giving the buyer, the opportunity later on to complain about how a lot of vague requests were finally completed. And this is a situation that both you as a seller and myself as a real estate broker, we really want to avoid that. We don't want somebody at the last minute being able to come back and being like, hey, that's not how I thought it was going to be done, right? But let's look back through here, kind of a list of repairs requests that we had on a home sale. We would like to request for repair instead of credit. So that's what they're coming across as their ask. Below are our requested repairs. So it's split up into different sections. And so, as you're going along here, you can count up the number of contractors that would need to come in and take care of all this work, right? So fixed lower downspout turnout at the southwest corner of the house. I mean, this is like just taking a couple of thumbs and turning it, right? Attic, request roof inspection due to hail strikes noted in the inspection report. Roofing company could come out, but what does this mean though, right? Repair weather stripping, and let me go back. It's very open-ended also, right? So like what's going to come of that report? Repair weather stripping in the front edge of the attic access cover. So, no big deal, but that's pretty simple. Handyman item, repair pull string missing from the access cover. Again, not a big deal, right? So structure components, walls, interior and exterior, re-secure hardy siding planks located on both the upper north and south side of the house. repair plank joints that are missing seals. So there's probably 100 joints in the house. Which ones are missing seals? Repair any missing, failing caulk at corner trim boards and expansion joints. Okay. In and of itself, probably not a big deal. But again, now we're already adding on extra contractors to do this work and being precise about what the buyer's expectations were going to be. Windows. Replaced fogging window present at the living room and office. That would actually be fairly easy to do, but a couple things there is one, could the glass be ordered in time and replaced prior to closing? And, still, even with this, we would want to be super specific about exactly which one it is. This is another contractor, though. Now we're talking about a window glass company added on to all this. Countertop. Replacement of granite countertop in master bathroom due to staining. This is a cosmetic type of thing that, was present in the house when the buyer came to look at it. This is also a big deal, right? And, if you think about this, replacing it with what? Replacing it with who's going to do it, right? And, myself as the real estate broker, now I'm charged with trying to match up the taste of what a buyer is looking for somehow with all of this, right? So it's electrical system. Service, entrance, and panels. Installation of surge protector device and main panel as required by the current standards. Well, okay. When you're selling your house, you're not required to bring the house up to the current code. So, this is certainly something that can be negotiated, but the expectation from the buyer now that the home would be brought up to the current code, it's a little unrealistic. This is only actually a 10-year-old house. So could it be done? I don't know. Maybe we'd have to certainly check with an electrician before committing to it, because maybe there's a reason why it can't be done, right? But certainly more of an upgrade than a deficiency. Replace failed GFCI breaker in the sub panel. That in and of itself would not be a big deal. But again, now we're talking about also bringing in an electrician. Install GFCI protection in the service receptacle in the attic per current standards. Again, current standards, right? So now we're talking again about upgrades and not really a deficiency in the house. Okay. HVAC. Request HVAC checkup due to substandard temperature differential. This is something that I should probably cover in another video about what an inspector is really looking at when they're inspecting your AC system. But possible replacement of AC unit due to age. What the heck does that mean? I mean, how are you going to sign a amendment that we're going to possibly replace the AC due to age, right? So, we certainly don't want to sign anything like that. And I'm not sure where the buyer's coming from on that. So, all right, let's get back to plumbing. Replace missing shutoff valve box cover. Again, handyman item, but now we're talking about, more handyman items. Fix broken 90-degree downturn of the TMP train line on the south exterior of the home. That could be something legitimate. In this case, it really wasn't a big deal. But again, now we're talking about a plumber coming out, right? So now we're adding on another licensed trade to come out. Fix low pressure in zone 2 of the irrigation system, right? So now we've got a irrigation company coming out, right? I get it. And I would say that for sellers, one of the things that freaks people out about homes is the sprinkler system, because it is a kind of an unknown. So that one I almost kind of get. But fix damage to irrigation PVC conduit in the northwest corner. This is what happens to a lot of these systems as they age a little bit. The PVC pipe might be a little bit damaged, right? People are hitting it with weed whackers and things like that. But again, this is all like minor type of things that require more and more people. So. And then the agent said, basically, whatever the inspection report recommends fixing, we want it done. So then they give us kind of their main items on the house. Did this work out? Well, again, we're very good negotiators on our side in representing the seller. We also manage expectations with both buyers and agents that a lot of these items, you can't go on this holy grail, search for the holy grail kind of a thing for a residential real estate sale. It's just not possible. I mean, again, somebody might watch this and be like, oh my gosh, how can you say it's not possible? It's not possible in my experience, right? So it's just a non-starter. And, the options are generally with these things, well, we can pick out some of the things that are legitimate, right? And so instead of the 20 things. Maybe we pick out, just a handful of things. And one of the things that I encourage our sellers to think about is all right, what's the next buyer going to ask for, right? Because, I don't want to puff up my chest and get my ego involved with some of this as well. And then we chase off one buyer, and then the next buyer is going to be asking for the exact same thing, right? But the other option is always that you as the seller don't have to do anything. So you can accept all of it. You can accept none of it. Part of this, you can also offer a financial settlement, which is by far and away the cleanest way to handle any of this type of thing. It avoids any kind of misunderstandings later on. It avoids having to do work at the specific taste of one buyer. And then if that deal falls through, maybe that type of work isn't going to be valued by the next buyer, right? So this is a much cleaner way to do it. And in the end, that's how we did do this. The whole thing, all of this list was negotiated for just a couple of $1,000s. And so the seller was really happy about that. The buyer's probably happy as well because they may not realize it, but in the end, it's better for them to have some money and be able to do whatever that they want to do to their own taste and in the way that they want it to be done. So, truly at the beginning, it may not seem like a win-win, but it really is a win-win for everybody. And so I know a lot of people that contact me about selling their house, they're usually worried about these type of inspection issues and deals falling through. Our track record is very good on this for a lot of reasons. But so if you're worried about, you're afraid you don't want to put your home on the market because, something like this is going to happen where a buyer is going to request 20 items from you, really don't worry about that. We'll worry about it when it actually happens, and then we'll handle it. And probably everything, just like in this situation, is going to work out just fine. So whenever you're ready to talk about getting your home on the market, get in touch with us and we'd be honored to help you as well.